First of all, our sincere apologies to all of our 47 subscribers. We've been on a Finnish summer vacation, wrestling with polar bears and a moose. And also, huge shout out to Ruuhimäki Go-Kart Circuit for letting us use their track as a playground for a day. Much appreciated.
But now... How many horsepower you got in that little shoebox of yours? My E-Class 220 diesel makes more horsepower with...
2005 Peugeot 206 RC. If you've seen one of the very last Top Gear episodes with the dynamic Clarkson, May and Hammond trio, you're pretty much familiarized yourself with the fact that Peugeot has always been quite a strange company. And if you haven't, well, Season 22, Episode 5, go. I'll be here, waiting for you.
Yobbo. Maniac.
This segment does what Top Gear did at its best. Through the power of satire and exaggeration, it gets the point across. And this is the common Peugeot assumption between us car guys as well. This is the way we're taught. 405s, 309s and 205s were incredibly fast and great. 106s and 306s were okay, and anything that came afterwards is completely rubbish. But let's put this in the context of a car culture, or rather car ownership in Finland. Okay, let's take a guess. What's the most reliable part of this Toyota Yaris? Is it the engine? Oh no. Is it the electronics? No. It's the owner. It's your grandma who struggles to clock 1,000 kilometers a year and still brings it to every yearly service months before it's due. And oh boy, do the dealer service love your grandma. She stores her car in garage and never drives it, so the underpinnings are perfectly clean, as is her engine bay. No bolt is stuck, no grime or road salt is to be seen. Similarly, you can now take a guess of what's the most unreliable part of this Peugeot. Is it the electronics? The motor? No. It's me! The owner! The typical owner forgets to pay the taxes for the car or get it MOT'd or whatever katsastus is in English. So what are the car's chances of getting a regular service? They're non-existent. The car is parked under a tree, a very bad one. Even during the coldest winter months when the temperatures drop below -30 Celsius, it's never preheated. And all of this means that stuff is about to break. And when stuff breaks... I did it myself and saved a fortune. This pre-used windshield wiper relay I found from the 92 205 is almost identical. It had been sitting outside in the backyard of a breakers for 10 years. But I paid just €2 for it. Sure, there's a bit of wiring to be done, but I can do it myself. I've done some soldering in middle school.
There's hair growing out of my ears.
My wife doesn't love me anymore. My dog died and I never graduated.
I can mend my own car.
And you bet that Peugeot's reputation around 2005 reflects this notion. At least in Finland it does. They were considered to be, well, crap. And be the truth how it may, it makes us a bit baffled why anyone in their right minds or preconceptions about Peugeot would go to a dealership and say, no, I don't want the new well-made, reliable and fast Mark V Golf GDI. I want the slightly slower Peugeot with less equipment, bad reputation and the challenges of reselling it. But one anonymous doctor from our nation's capital, Helsinki, made that wrong decision. And it's this one. The funny thing is that the Peugeot 206 RC was a car that wasn't supposed to happen at all. As Top Gear told us, back in 2005 Peugeot was quite busy making cars that were, to quote Jeremy Clarkson, horrible. They sold well because of the clever marketing, cheap prices and, well, customers who had hair growing out of their ears. But Peugeot had an ancient relic of a fly in their ointment. They were the determined and professional bunch of engineers called the Peugeot Sport. The same bunch that once made the groundbreaking 205 T16, in which Vatanen dominated the gravel roads, were now trying to stick to budgets with putting bad gearboxes in Markus Grönholm's 307 World Rally car. The racing success not fitting in Peugeot's marketing budgets is actually quite understandable if you're trying to sell a car to someone who isn't the least bit interested in cars. But back in 1998, the sport department were headstrong. They wanted to do a hot version of the new 206 platform. They wanted to make it a 200 horsepower driver's car, because they were already building a World Rally car out of that platform and they had the know-how.
Well, you can have 138 horsepower. the Pity GTI. Obviously that was a compromise that satisfied absolutely no one. Neither Peugeot Sport or the customers waiting for Peugeot to finally make a new hot hatch. The years went by and time after time the headquarters denied any of Peugeot Sport's ideas of making a stiffer, more hardcore version. Finally Peugeot Sport were so fed up that they fetched up a plan.
Okay, in the night we go and we steal all of the croissants from Peugeot headquarters cafe. We will only bring back the croissant if they promise to build a fast 206.
And finally Peugeot had to give in, even though they knew it wasn't going to fly off the shelves. And the inaccurate history lesson over for you car nerds. Let's do what this car was meant to do. Take corners like a madman.
Open up this conversation.
Yeah, sure. What do you think about the seats?
Well, like you said, they are Recaro seats, right? It gives you a good sidewall where to lean on, but the driving position in Peugeots and overall, it's quite like I feel like I'm driving a tractor from time to time when I'm sitting in the driver's seat.
Yeah, in my opinion, the seats are maybe the best part of this car because that shows us that Peugeot has put the money in this car where it's supposed to be, because the next level up from this car really is like if you want everything, if you want the creature comforts and the good Recaro seats and good handling, good engine, the next step is maybe an M3, and that would be brand new. That would be like 60,000 euros more expensive than this. Steering wheel tilts up and down, but it doesn't telescope towards me, so I need to sit like straight. If you can see my seating position, my backrest is really upwards, so I can reach the steering wheel. And I'm over 2 meters long. Used to play basketballs for the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, I also did university basketball in China, so I know the feeling. Your other car is an RS Megane. Like, what do you see the major differences between this and that? Obviously this has less horsepower and it's a bit smaller, but the main difference between these two is that this feels fast and the Megane doesn't, but this is a lot slower than the Megane. But it's from the same era. It's made more or less for the same customer, a bit different price range though. Well, a Megane is way more serious car than this is. This is more of a fun little hatchback in analog sort of way. Let's put it this way, this is a typewriter and the Megane is a laptop. But it doesn't mean that you can't have fun with both. Yeah, and the typewriter is going to make all the right clicks and noises. But the problem is with a typewriter you can't watch porn. Yeah, but with the typewriter you can go and actually f*** yourself. Let's go back to 2005 and Mark V Golf GTI, because while in every measurable way the Golf would have been a better choice at that time, there was an X-factor, existence of which we weren't yet aware of. In retrospect, it's quite easy to pinpoint. This X-factor consists mostly of the following items: red line above 7000, simple and stiff hydraulic steering, lightweight, fully unengaged traction control at a click of a switch, manual transmission,
and maybe most importantly, naturally aspirated engine.
None of the 2005 GTIs, RSs, STs, OPCs, VXRs, PCPs, LSDs or any other silly acronyms had that X-factor anymore, and back then we didn't even know that we'd come to miss it in 2018. All of this makes one argue that this is actually one of the last analog hot hatch, that the likes of EP3 Civic Type R or 206 RC were actually the last of what was a dying breed. And while an RS Megane or the Mark V GTI Golf is almost certainly faster around any racetrack in the world, they're missing this X-factor, this purity of simple driving and feeling connected to the car and the road. And oh no, I'm not for 1 second saying that this is the most pure driving experience in the world, but it's one of the last in this segment. I've owned this car for a couple of years now, and it has taught me more about driving than the Mark V Golf GTI ever could. Most of the Mark V GDIs are now stand-stationed anyway, so better yet, this car may have saved my life from airbagging and scraping every speed bump. And for that, I'm forever grateful to you, the anonymous doctor from Helsinki. You who made the wrong decision of buying this instead of the Golf back in 2005. Thank you.